A dwarf once offered me money for a blowjob. What's your price? Was he a little short? My laughter at this was short-lived. That was a low blow. I offered a dwarf $50 for a blowjob. They went up on me. Bet you were nuts over them. Look on the bright side, they won't have to worry about scuffing their knees. But $20 is $20. He did promise a yellow brick load. I am offended by this. I feel like this will only be here a little while. People seem to get easily offended with little jokes. Which one? Sleazy? It came in a pot. Well, since you were down there, Zybe, I hired a contractor to build some stairs from my front door down to the sidewalk. He offered to build a basement door to the side and a set of steps to it as well. I refused. I'd never stoop so low. That's a bit of a bad taste joke. Who put him up to it? Did the dwarf feel down after you rejected him? Comic Sans is the Nickelback of fonts. It's not really that bad, it's just popular to talk shit about it. In Canada we hate Nickelback, not because they suck, but because their music got so overplayed due to Canadian content laws. It happens with quite a few Canadian bands. It was used a lot in the school I worked in as a cheap free font that helped dyslexic children read. It's pretty bad when people make multi-million-dollar sales presentations with Comic Sans a good font in the sense that it meets its design purposes perfectly. It's a poor font in the sense that it's designed to look very non-serious and slightly comical. The problem with Comic Sans isn't the font, it's that it's used to use it on a school worksheet. Great, it's dyslexia friendly and has single decorates. Want to use it on Timmy's birthday invitations? Fantastic. It's round and dollar presentation about merging two companies? Not appropriate. Dads fall asleep while watching TV because sitting comfortably around a flickering light source with your mate and offspring checks about 90 of the contentment boxes of the caveman brain. Explains why mine usually springs up and exclaims I was watching that if he's fallen asleep watching the Military History Channel and I turn it off. So, this explains the falling asleep in a movie theater. Oh, shit, that is definitely how it feels. Everyone's going to be okay here for a while. Brain can shut down. I take it even further and keep Primitive Technologies Pyrotech playlist on loop when I get ready for bed. Just wish I could find a restoration channel similar. The sound of sandblasters and scrubbing metal with metal just ain't the same with someone chatting over it. Never understood this. I can't sleep with the TV on unless I'm exhausted. Also, I'm a dad. Fireplace channel and nap time. I can't tell whether my new car's suspension is amazing, or if I'm sociopath. It might be a shock, but it could be both. Excellent pun. Maybe a bit macabre for a dad joke, but seeing some of the other kinds of jokes here, I think it works. Some people use the outside lane. I used the psychopath. Spring sprang sprung. My car did a hit and run. The cops I do not need to call for my Pinto was only playing baseball. I invented a new word today. Copy that. That's very appropriation. I created some new definitions, but I don't have the words to describe them yet. I'm me in that. And wrote a new joke. What a day. I don't believe in plagiarism, but hey, freedom of religion, so believe what you want. I came here to replay this. I might steal this joke and claim it as my own. Plagiarism. Looks like a good word. I'm gonna steal that. Bro plagiarized plagiarism. You'd better copyright it ASAP or else someone might plagiarize you. You don't want that to happen. I invented a new word today. I invented a word but I'm not quite sure how to spell it. Melancholy blue. Beware the four horsemen of the grammapolyps: subjunctive, semicolon, dangling participle, and bore. I'm Robert Sapolsky, a neurobiologist primatologist at Stanford. Ask me anything. 1. Does Hoffman's postulations on simulation theory intersect with your views on free will? 2. What took so long for evolutionary biologists working with game theory to see, or understand, opting out? I am currently a candidate for Masters in Cultural Anthropology, taking the evolutionary biology theory and methods you for your time. With the explosion of AIs, how do you see its use relating to your fields of study? In both research and you for the great books and lectures. What was your favorite animal to study? What was the most powerful personal moment you can recall during your in-depth studies of primates? If you were battling depression and anxiety, what steps would you take to attempt to mitigate symptoms of those conditions, aside from or in addition to psychiatric treatment and therapy? It's not okay to eat food that's been left out all night for breakfast, unless it's pizza. If eating food that had been left out all night for breakfast was harmful to the human body, then I would have been dead as a fucking doornail decades ago. Tell that to my ramen. Didn't think it was even possible to gatekeep leftover food, but here we are. No, you shouldn't eat pizza that's been out all night either. No offense, clearly an American question. I am exposed to Indian culture daily. Food cooked is left out all the time overnight. It is always veggies and tofu paneer, cultured milk. Not all cultures have access to refrigeration. In the barracks in Pensacola, We would order multiple $5 large pepperoni pizzas from Hungry Howie's on Friday night and just leave them out until Sunday night and lived off of them and tax-free Miller High Life. I learned how to carry 4 30-packs at once in those days. Japan is the one country where the problem with its foreign perception is that people think too highly of it. Looks nice to visit but shitty to live. What about France and Paris syndrome? America, the work culture sounds like an insufferable hell though. I would suspect that's mainly due to media, but there could be other components as well. Anime, major video game companies, fashion, food, etc. You'll never know until you visit. Isn't that true of almost all countries, though? Aren't they all trying to be seen as the place to be that, of all those tourism departments aren't working, and should be demolished? They're so polite. What are they hiding? They never want to show me their 50 feet robot necks, lol. Korea, China, the ASEAN countries all strongly disagree with this. Make the horse laugh, formatting makes the world go round. One of my favorite all-time jokes. Absolute comedy bronze. Damn, want to meet that guy. Good old 38. I don't get it. So he really did have a bigger package? If so, not just impossible but also not so funny. Well, I suppose time to make some horses laugh, and then cry. Hold up, Samantha, I told you this in confidence. My girlfriend tried to make me have sex on the hood of her Honda Civic. But I refused. You just don't like being outside your element, do you? That joke was an odyssey. Something probe. One should do his civic duty. I've got my own sob story where the girl refused. You go guy. What an insightful story. It sounds like she is a great fit for you. Just make sure you put in the work during foreplay, the prelude. If you're making out on an odyssey, watch out for the radio receiver. You don't want to get venereal disease. Be careful or she'll find a new pilot. I have a cord but I can't never pick up a girl. It's perfectly fine to hunt down the buns as a trailblazer. Hopefully she is not disappointed by your mini. Looks like she wants to be her own pilot. You can't afford to reject women, else Hyundai Virgin might send you over the edge when she licks your ridgeline. I'd tell her to get out of here. My wife and I wanted to honeymoon on the Riviera, but we kept sliding off the hood. OSHA inspectors of Reddit, what was the craziest thing you've found during an inspection? Guys working in a 25-foot deep trench with oil contamination all around them with no ventilation ensuring that didn't reach the top of grade. Non-American people know that meme about the forklift carrying its younglings so they can reach the top of the shelf? Exactly that, but IRL with a 6-ton and a 1.5-ton forklift in a building with 1 TM2 floor carrying capacity and about 1 ton of flammable shit as cargo. I'm no longer a safety inspector to keep my own health and sanity. May I just say that I appreciate the NSFW tag when you are literally asking people to tell stories about things not being safe for work. Bravo. All of my years in retail and in the warehouse and I've seen thousands of OSHA violations, yet not a single OSHA inspector. Science nerds of Reddit, what pseudoscience drives you bonkers the most? Facebook, Instagram, psychology like psychological fact 425 those who smile the most are the saddest. Quack cancer treatments. They take thousands of dollars from desperate people, some of whom decline actual treatment that might have saved their lives, or at least extended them. Nothing more vile. When someone says X is only like 1 molecule away from being Y, so you're basically taking poison. Saying a chemical is too dangerous to eat because you can't pronounce it. Toxins and cleansing them. When I took astronomy in college, my parents kept asking me to tell their fortune. Polygraph. I've been a registered dietitian for 16 years. I just can't with the nutritionists on Instagram hawking their MLM diet bullshit. It's not worth my time to argue with them though. In fact, it is a total waste of time. Someone just called my phone, sneezed, and then just hung up. This joke is actually really good. Now I'm gonna spread it around a bunch of my friends. Hold, please transfer in progress. Ear infection incoming. Ha ha ha, that's so good. They gone to find a tissue, smiley face. Cold. Maybe you should get a second line put in if your other one is always congested. He called in sick. Should include you on after sneeze so the punchline lines up with sick tired. I think I am getting immune to these jokes. That was snot very. I know some of you haters out there will tell me to bugger off. Well, that would be mucus to my ears. Can't you tell from the tone of my reactions I am Flemish? You sure it's not a prank call lol? That's the reason I still use my Nokia N95. Ha ha ha, take my update. You never would have gotten ill if you wore a mask. All these cold calls make me sick. 0800 Gesundheit. This guy knows how to tell a joke. Till when President Macias of Equatorial Guinea was overthrown in 1979, the army couldn't find him. He was discovered 2 weeks later by a villager, wandering through the jungle, alone and delirious with the entire country's foreign currency reserves in 2 suitcases. Till they executed him, and his kids were raised in North Korea, with Kim Il-sung as their guardian. Jesus Christ. Reading about his life before the presidency makes you almost feel sorry for the bastard. Dude was genuinely mentally ill to the point you have to wonder if being delirious was his usual state rather than a rare occurrence. Real dictators' last episodes on him were so interesting. Got his foot in the door as a translator in court because he spoke Spanish and absolutely idolized Hitler for his speeches. Till that 80 of animals found in Madagascar exist nowhere else on Earth. The crazy thing too is several of the bird species look closer to ones found in South America than Africa. It's a super weird island. They like to move it. I'm starting to think Noah's Ark might not have been real. In my experience, no matter where an animal is found, it doesn't exist anywhere else but there. The Malagasy language is a distant relative of Polynesian languages like Hawaiian. It's also related to Tagalog, Malay, and other languages. These languages are called Austronesian and the people likely originated on Taiwan, which also has indigenous Austronesian groups. Australia enters the chat. You'd think 100 of the animals on Madagascar don't exist anywhere else, they're already on Madagascar. Unsurprising. It's hard for migrations in out to happen when Madagascar closes their only seaport every time someone coughs in Brazil. Till that on April 29, 1945, one day before his death, Hitler had doubts about the cyanide capsules he had received. To verify the capsule's potency, Hitler ordered Dr. Werner Haas to test one on Blondie, Hitler's dog, who died as a result. Erna Flegel, who met Hitler and worked at the emergency casualty station in the Reich Chancellery, stated in 2005 that Blondie's death had affected the people in the bunker more than Eva Braun's suicide. The more I hear about this Hitler fella, the less I care for him. Bart, is there a doggy hell? Homer, well of course, there couldn't be a heaven if there weren't a hell. Bart, who's in there? Homer, oh. Hitler's dog, and that dog Nixon had. What's his name? Chester. Lisa Checkers. Killed a dog on his last day. Sounds on brand. Didn't even bother to do that himself. I was on the fence about this guy, but that's finally pushed me. Till the CIA during the Vietnam War concluded that North Vietnam's President Ho Chi Minh was so popular as a national hero that he'd probably have gained more votes in South Vietnam than any rival candidate. Ho was a nationalist, but America wanted France in NATO. The price was supporting French colonialism, think Michelin here, in Vietnam. Ho had actually come to America for help after World War II. America chose France and everything else followed. Ho Chi Minh had some cool political philosophies. Some were not so cool, but I appreciate his writing on how Vietnamese culture was far better suited to communism than most others. I mean, many remote Asian places operate in a communal nature anyway. The USA backing French colonialism in Vietnam is one of the great blunders of our nation. We were already allies with Ho Chi Minh. Our arrogance still astounds me. Till there is a town in Alaska called Whittier where nearly the entire population lives in one building along with all of the town's public facilities. I've been to Whittier a few times on trips to Alaska. It's not very big but has some good seafood joints and great bird watching in the summer. Took the ferry once from Valdez to Whittier. It took 8 hours. We saw whales, otters, hundreds of eagles fishing for salmon in a small bay, and thousands of seabirds on the cliffs near Whittier. Only during winter, which happens to be about half the a beautiful town with easy hikes up the mountains. But yeah, in the winter everyone hibernates in a giant hotel. Drive there is beautiful. Family thought I was absurd for wanting to put the town on the itinerary, but that journey through the long tunnel and the gorgeous waterfront won everyone over. You think gossip in a small town is bad? Till when Rita Hayworth learned the atomic bomb that was scheduled to be tested at Bikini Atoll would feature her likeness, she was offended. Her husband Orson Welles later recalled she was the angriest she had ever been, thinking it was a publicity stunt orchestrated by the head of Columbia Pictures. Till Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles were married. Why did they use her likeness during the atomic bomb? I love that Rita Hayworth was furious about it. So many people supported the destruction. Painting pin-up girls on stuff was a tradition in the military back then. It would be a PR nightmare and cause equal opportunity and sexist complaints if we did that now. If they put Miley Cyrus on a fighter jet, I think it would be cool though. And it truly was a Shawshank Redemption. Well, she was a bombshell. God, I love when she does that shit with her hair. Forget the retelling me that Orson Welles was married to Rita Hayworth. WTH? What are you in the top 1 of the world for? 0.07 of people have VGP, which allows them to voluntarily control their goosebumps. I can trigger them on command and suppress them as well. Top 1 of most handsome people. Thanks mom. If you earn more than $60,000 per year, you are in top 1 globally. Height 6 feet 8 inches. It's a blessing and a curse. I can see over everyone at a concert while knowing everyone behind me is pissed at my existence. Banging my wife hopefully. 400 pounds weight loss in 2 years at 62 years old. Proof in my profile history post. According to Spotify, I am in the top 1 of Jimmy Buffett's monthly listeners. I'm in the 1 of Social Security disability recipients who got off of disability and into a job making $40,000. What is something super detrimental to your health that most people don't realize? Missing sleep. Comparing yourself to people. It's terrible for your mental health. If you do a lot of sitting like a desk job or a lot of commuting or trucking and keep your wallet in your back pocket, you're going to fuck up your spine. Constant stimulus from our phones makes us bored easily and increases feelings of loneliness. Makes doing things without watching anything on our phones or being with someone a lot more mentally LMFAO. Every time I get a notification on this thread, I check my phone. Hee it's 3 AM now where I'm at. Hee. We're all fucking doomed. Lack of sleep and proper hydration. Not doing things that you loved as a kid before you were concerned with adult responsibilities. Stress is bad for your brain and a lot of people don't have healthy ways to relieve it. Soda, the sugar in those is literally insane. What's a pirate's favorite letter? P, cause without it he'd be irate. My favorite answer to this one say R, others may say C. But a pirate's real favorite letter is you've been traded to the Yankees. You'd think it was RRR but it BBB the CCC, not R. P since it missing a leg. You best not be asking us any questions, ain't that right mateys? Aye Captain, this is a vast conspiracy. Or IMAT in sequence. I always thought it was funny that pirates sailed the 7 seas their whole lives looking for buried treasure, when the whole time the real treasure was the friendships they were making. Oh I see. Y'all be wrong. It be X where the treasure lies. Jokes on you pirates are illiterate, they have no favorite letter. X marks the spot. That was one of my favorite jokes from The Last of Us as well. DDZLS2W. Ite favorite letter is I. Sometimes they say boo even before you say T. Who are some exposed frauds that still have a following despite being debunked. That dude that went to prison for fraud for Fire Festival. He is out now and wants to try again. Uri Geller. He still to this day claims he has mystical powers and won't admit he's just doing magic tricks, despite being exposed by James Randi. The Church of Scientology. Flat Earthers. The Liver King guy, not sure if he still claims to be natty though. People have to admit they were duped. They follow because they can't accept they fell for something. Gregor McGregor tricked a whole bunch of people into moving to a fake country in Central America. MLMs. L. Ron Hubbard. Warren Jeffs. Dude is literally in prison and still has a significant amount of devout followers. You just woke up and it's actually November 9, 2013. What do you do? Tell the Cincinnati Zoo to get better fences for their gorilla enclosure. Oh man. I'm 8 months pregnant again. Fuck you buddy. Spend more time with my dad. Bet on major sporting events. Invest in real estate. Buy Bitcoin. Start saving every possible penny to bet on Leicester City winning the 2015-16 Premier League at 5,001 odds in a couple of years' time and then buy Bitcoin with the winnings. Also lock the best friend I've ever had in a room using whatever force necessary, and keep him there until he's clean of heroin. Spend time with my grandfather, since he died November 10, 2013. Am I the same age I am now? Are there 2 of me running around? Tell my mom how much she means to me.